What is up, guys? It's your boy GRC. How's everybody doing today? I slept like a baby last night and I missed an incredible stream. I'm going to say this real quick. First, I should say Crypto in the Morning live every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern with my co-host Sam Stolt, producer BulleShocks. We give the most unbiased, detailed information on all the stuff that's coming out that's getting a lot of action. Anything that's getting a lot of eyeballs, I'm probably going to look at because at some point, you know, explosive things are happening in crypto. I'm not always sure which one's which. I'm excited to learn about the future. I'm excited to get into products that are new for very low amounts of money that have chance and speculative value, just like a lot of other things. And I also DCA into the other coins I like. You know, like I just don't see why, you know, people got really upset about the GRC minting $200 worth of gas fees. They weren't upset when I had to unstake for $400 for one of my stuff. So yeah, I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to learn, guys. I'm trying to figure stuff out. I'm trying to be honest and open and really detailed. And the reason you'll see a lot of the guys not want to come on the show is because me and Sam really do tend to be extremely detailed. And that's sketchy. That's sketchy if you're lazy, because it's, you know, Sam's hawking me down all day long. I can only imagine when someone gives him something to chew on. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty tight. I try to keep it to the numbers. I try to keep for Zen, for example, before I go into the break and get Sam in here. Zen, for example, we told everyone the whole entire time. What did we tell you? I told you that Zen aims to be affordable, widespread crypto, and it's going to go lower when the liquidity is immature. So don't buy on Uniswap. The accumulation period is 2 to 3 years. Then the minting value slows down. More people have it. And the price action and the things built on it could speculatively go to the upside. This is what I said. Everyone freaks out. When the price go down, K4K highlights it, but he never will tell you distribution methods. And now we have Steph coming on today who did Steph from StakerApp, who did have a little bit to say about this product. But Steph, he uses a little bit of detail when he speaks. And I noticed it and I wanted him on. He's a controversial figure. Lots of buzz when he starts talking online. You know, I want to talk to him. I want to get him in here. I want to talk about Zen, Hex, RH, Jack Levin, the future of crypto. I want to be positive, though. I'm not going to get tied into this negative loop of a bunch of losers who don't do anything right. I am going to continue to study, work hard, be emotionally fit, and unbiased with my crypto stuff. And I'm going to try to be as honest as I can moving forward. I'm not perfect, guys, but I'm trying my best. And, you know, frankly, I think I'm doing a damn good job. Everybody have a Crypto in the Morning live every single day. DeFi proof, official rapper of the channel. Let's get it.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hex and I'm making a steak. Got me some hedge on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. GymRatCrypto sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning. 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 Got me some melamine, got me a couple, got in these papers. I keep checking on the tab, for that splashes. Uniswap, we don't fuck with that. Don't let me get started on the. All I did was get this rep. Pair that BUSD into some drip. Used to be in the block with my dogs, yeah, just ducking these pigs. I'm in the farm, and I'm balling into y'all. riding on elephant to collect fees. Collecting chunk and I'm making a tree. Stepping it down.
Oh, that's got some new fire coming out. DeFi proof.
Fire in the producer. Spin House Bullish. Can you tell us just for a couple seconds, real quick, what do we got?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I
Good
teased this
morning.
yesterday. The DeFi Proof is doing a free concert the 17th at 6 p.m. on his channel. So yeah, you know, we all know we're a fan of him. He will be performing a Crypto in the Morning song. You know, I'm sure he'll probably, you know, be performing the Richard Heart song as well. So yeah, so like tune in. His channel is youtube.com/C/DeFi Proof. The 17th, 6 p.m. Eastern, free concert, you know, it's chill, bear market stuff. And it's free.
Can I stream party kind of situation, or am I going to be allowed to participate?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want, man.
God is good, guys. I'm turning.
It's a free world, isn't it?
I'm going to be the next DeFi rapper.
I've always wanted to do my own music video and my own.
I'm going to get called cornballs. I want to bring this up now.
You can call it the mustache song.
Wait,
So,
Sam,
first of all,
before we
tell us
bring
what
this up, I want you to talk for a second. I want to hear what you have to say. How are you doing?
I think this is an exciting, like, I have really enjoyed this last several weeks and months, and it seems like, I don't know. I understand that there's a lot of people who are like set in their ways about certain things, and like perfectly okay to do that. Like if it serves you and you believe that's the best path for you, like amazing. You should continue doing that kind of thing. But for me, oh my God, this has been so much fun. Over the last several weeks, we have like one thing after launching, after another thing, after another thing, after another thing, and we're just bringing it to you like straight up.
Intellectual stimulation wise, it's been wow. I've rarely been able to get like too much intellectual stimulation within a short amount of time, and lately I've been tired, man, and I love it. I love waking up in the morning. I got stuff to read, things to look at, ratios to look at, math problems to look at that no one else cares about. And it's just advantage. You just gain an advantage on everything, including the assets you're already in, because you get to see how they act when they're sideways. You're just providing LP. You're just earning fees, you know, if you're doing it or staking, you know, either way. So I think it's just interesting. There's a lot of tools in the toolbox, Sam.
I like this is amazing. So I did something super degen that you guys should probably not do, right? But I'm going to be straight up and honest with you guys about what I do, so that you can learn from me and be like, yeah, definitely don't do that shit. Or, oh, that might be kind of interesting, right? What he's saying there. So I deployed about $7,000 loan into crypto, right? So this is a fiat loan into crypto. Payment on it's probably going to be about $200, $225 per month into LP, right? So Day one pulled about $65 of profit out. Day two, it's already up at about $100. So I'm going to pull that off. So in about 3 days, and I'm not saying you guys should do anything that I'm talking about. In 3 days, possibly 4 days, if like it's a slow day tomorrow, I will have made the entire payment for next month. Because the payment's actually not due for like about 40 days, right? So I will have made all that, the payment for this loan, ready to go, transfer back to my bank account. Like, this is awesome.
Yes. And guys, Sam is very detailed. He's very OCD. He writes everything down. He pays attention. So like this, like if he's saying this to a crowd of like high schoolers, like not a great idea to bring up probably. But there is a few guys in the chat that are a little more advanced when it comes to like moving money around, having more options. Some people like to play around. Some people like to take leverage on some of their assets because they don't want to, you know, sell the asset completely. And there's just more functionality and there's more moving pieces. And you can actually, with risk comes like you can pay the month off in 1 day. Like you can maybe you can pay the whole thing off in a month, or maybe it comes a little sideways and you have to go out of your pocket maybe a little bit at some point. It would have to go rather sideways, or something would have to occur. But like, you know what I mean? So it's, again, risk. I'm way less risky than Sam. I'm not saying in 5 years I'll be less risky than Sam. I'll probably be more so risky then. But if for me, I'm just in like a learning phase. I like to add assets, add coins. I want more coin. I want more coins. I just want more coins, and that's it.
So think about this. And I'm not saying you or anybody else should do what I'm doing. I'm just going to be open with people about what I'm doing. And if I fuck shit up, I fuck shit up. Cool.
Yeah, I
Hey,
might
guys,
fuck shit
I
up
fuck
too.
shit up. Cool.
I might fuck
Okay.
shit up.
So seven grand, right? Now, this $7,000, I got to pay every month, and I got to pay interest on this, and interest rates have gone up, right? But I'm earning such a high rate. So I'm not going to actually use this money to live on. What I'm going to use is the cash I'm generating to pay this off as quickly as possible. GRC, we just mentioned, one of the things that's very important, especially during a bear market, increasing your coin count. Whatever coins that you effing like, get that number up, continue to invest, right? So I just got $7,000 that of these tokens in LP. Cool. One goes up, what do you freaking do? I still have $7,000 of somebody else's money that's making me money. And I'm going to pay this off as quickly as possible. Maybe it takes 2 months, right? Depending on, maybe I said yesterday I made $65. Today I'm probably gonna make 120, 130 bucks, right? So however long it takes me to pay this thing off, I just got $7,000 worth of free coins from doing this. I'm going to rinse and repeat. Like, it's just no brainer for me because I'm increasing my coin count. Like you're saying, I'm like getting more coins using other people's money.
Yeah, and there's other there's strategies to do that are different and like preloaded with like some people have crypto funds from forever too. Like, you know what I mean? Like some people in the chat have wallets that have thousands of dollars on them that they haven't looked at in years because it's just negligible probably to a degree. But if they really wanted to like accumulate a position, you know, there's a lot of different ways to go about this stuff, guys. But again, me and Sam are also 100% at our computers pretty much whenever we want to be, which is like most of the working day and like if anything happens. And that's just frankly just not the position that most guys are in. Most guys are not able to be staring at their computer if something goes down. Like, so I would be way different about it if I literally had to go work all day. I would have to be. Sam could not rely on his emotional, like working all day is hard, no matter if you're doing something like something. And so, and I made a life and you did too. You kind of taught me how to do it, frankly, where I didn't have to worry about doing anything that anyone said ever one time ever. And
think about where you're at right now from 10 months ago. 10 months ago. So pick yourself 1 year ago. So anytime like I do this probably once or twice a month, perspective, put yourself in your shoes a year ago. Where were you in a year ago? You were fucking not super happy or fulfilled as you are today. You were still working, 50 to 60 hours a week. Look at, this is a short period.
It's like 200 days. And now I'm like some kind of like internet crypto guy. It's like, guys, don't be fooled. It's just hard work. In anything you do over a short amount of time. It's just that no one else works that hard. And, I don't pay for any kind of like whatever the stuff is you're supposed to pay for because I just want to show people that I can really push harder than they can. And I'd like them to know that from every analytic that they can see, because I know I won't stop. I've done this before and other things and I didn't stop. It got weird. Like I got good at certain things in my life. And that's what I'm planning on doing here. And I think I'm getting there. I don't think I'm perfect, but I think my unbiased nature puts me ahead of 60% of people before I start looking.
90%. Yes, I agree.
Because I just like, for example, when I was reading this morning, was I freaking out? Did I have a fucking freak out about this? Let's read this, Sam. Let's show the people how we like to kind of read through things and analyze before Steph comes on. Steph's coming on in 10 minutes, guys. So if you want to talk to Steph, and Steph worked for Google, and I think he's a developer or the founder of StakerApp. Or both. Again, I have to talk to him a little more, but he had some great points on Zen or some points that I really wanted to dive into. So he'll be on the show, controversial, but we're going to be super friendly, and I don't want to do anything weird. I like the guy. I think it's cool. I think everyone likes his tweets when he tweets, so it's cool. I'm going to read this, Sam, but I really want you to help me work through this. Just like, again, I woke up just 25, 30 minutes before the show, started paying attention to stuff. So let's read this, go through it. I'm not worried because my brain works properly. And so FTX loses over 81 ETH and over 100 million Zen tokens. What's that, like $200? Like $500?
81 ETH is a decent amount, right?
That's a lot. That's like $100,000. But I mean, again, a lot to FTX. We'll see. due to gas stealing vulnerabilities. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and make this point right away. When you sign up for some of these sites, they cover the gas fee for you. So there's kind of like a decentralized inward gas paying feature like matcha.xyz. Have you ever used that? So
I have not.
Matcha, you don't have to pay gas if you like pay the initial like open up thing, like to get it open or whatever. So basically what happened, Sam, is some guy figured out how to like within the system, it sounds like, kind of mint his Zen without paying gas. So and it sounds like he got about 100 million Zen and he would have paid about 81 in ETH for one day mints, it looks like, because he would have the 100 million at least. So we'll see. But let's read this and look at it. Ether becomes deflated. Oh, my bad. Hackers stole gas by exploiting the loophole on the FTX exchange. So that doesn't. So first of all, guys, Zen was not hacked. FTX loophole to get gas out of there. The recently popular Zen was minted 17,000 times at a cost of 0 coins, and the gas theft is still going on, guys. Let's check it. Zen Crypto, though, check it. Looks nice.
Yeah.
On October 13th, Opang and X Explorer wrote that crypto exchange FTX lost total of more than 81 ETH. Dude, it's hard to say that. 81 ETH. 80 grand to the gas theft vulnerability, and that the hackers' address obtained over 100 million Zen tokens. And through Doodoo Uni and centralized trading Doodoo. What is Doodoo?
What is Doodoo, guys?
It must be a swap. Uniswap, or a decentralized trading platform, convert some Zen into 61 ETH and transfer FTX and Binance. Someone is stealing gas by exploiting FTX's loophole. Zen token has minted 17,000 times at a cost of 0. And the gas theft is still in progress. Guys, we're in big trouble. If you didn't mint Zen and listen to K4K, gosh, you made a good, smart move. I'm just joking, guys. At all seriousness, no, it just sounds like there's those little loopholes on the centralized exchanges, and that's why we generally stay off of centralized exchanges here. I don't like centralized exchanges. I don't like using them. I will only use it if it's the avenue of least resistance for something that's new.
Correct.
I will never use it or keep my money on a centralized exchange. There's no reason to. Why? Because they have a bunch of control and weird rules that I don't want to read.
And this person is intimately familiar with this, clearly, to the point of $100,000. They were able to mint a free token because of code being deployed wrong at FTX. Like, you would think that they would fix that. 100 million Zen is currently priced at $9,000.
Jesus, I'm going to make a fuck ton. Holy crap. I thought it'd be lower.
I thought it would be lower too. I didn't.
And in my head, it would trend lower, frankly. Like, in my head, it would have to trend lower. But guys, if it doesn't, like, I got this little like 25 to 75 ladder from like day one that I'm just working on. And it's like, dude, when that 75 days is up before the 100, because that was where the bulk went. God, I was sniping that moment. Like, I was like, I'm going to try to do something different in this moment. See if I can get some LP leverage at some point.
Because everybody else was like either day one or we're done 100.
Right. And I did of course, like 5 or 6 hundreds. Yeah, I did a couple yesterday that were just like longer, like 393 days, 400, whatever the limit was around that time ish. And just experimenting as I pay nothing really. But
correct.
But that's it. I mean, I've paid, I think, $300 in gas fees so far, guys. And it's really hurt me deeply, my family, for many years. It's going to be in ruins. I don't think my kids that I don't have yet will ever forgive me, frankly.
You should also tell them that you have to fast for 3 days now because you spent all of your money on food, on minting Zen. You spent $300.
I know, dude. It's over.
What are you going to do, my friend?
No more Bang energy.
But bless you. Somebody had an interesting question. I mean, I think that's pretty self-explanatory, right? There was a vulnerability within a centralized exchange that somebody found and took advantage of. This is similar to the thing of buying something in Walmart and returning it in another store for a higher price, right? You buy XYZ in Walmart for, 12 bucks and you return it over somewhere else for 24. It's just a digital asset. And there's no that physical nature of going to pick it up and then bring it somewhere else is different. So this allows you to do that arbitrage because it's something that they're not paying attention to. It's similar to that kind of thing. I would think the FTX would try to like fix this thing. What does this mean about the prices of Zen? I think it's going to continue to drop personally for a while until we start to see some more of this hyperinflation go down, right? Think of like Hedron, right? What happened when Hedron came out? A lot of people talked us, right? A lot of people didn't understand. A lot of people didn't believe that. And I'm saying this as like, hey, I was that person. I was like, hey, you can ask GRC or go watch some of the old shows. I was like, I don't really see the reason to hold Hedron, right? And Bullish is like, hey, I'm buying some. Cool. I think things are going to change in the future. And I was like, oh, cool. That's awesome. And he's just continues buying. And GRC is like, yeah, I think that something's going to happen in the future. I don't know what, right? And I was like, I don't see that, in there. And then Icosa comes along, right? Hedron dumped and dumped and dumped and dumped, right? For months and months. It just kept
the ratio became in the favor of the buyers.
And I vividly remember from the beginning, Sam was like, I'm not touching that shit.
Yep.
I'm not touching that shit. I'm not touching that shit. I'm not touching that shit. And to me, Sam is very intelligent. And I was still DCing, and the whole time he was like, I'm not touching that shit. I'm not touching that shit. The moment Icosa came out, he was like, bro, this is game changer. This changes everything.
Yep. Started buying. Perfect. And thank you for like, and I'm not scared of like telling you that I fucking had a different story. Like I was like, not buying.
Well, that was probably the most logical thought if you didn't have the insight that Alex was like a giga builder and kind of like I kind of had the insight that he was like making moves, and you probably just didn't know enough about him or that. So like I was banking on like, and that's what a lot of, you remember with like Zen, how he's like, people are going to build on it. I can't tell you what they're exactly going to do, but I'll support it. It's like, I know that's to be true as well. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but guys, I don't need a crystal ball here.
But this is you and Bullish, you and both is one of the reasons why I got more into Zen, right? Because you had asked me several times before launch, you're like, hey, what are your thoughts on Zen? And I wasn't paying extremely close attention to Zen, right? But I remember you being like, okay, I think that, there's something probably going to happen in the future with Hedron. And Bullish was like, cool, I like Hex. I'm going to fucking continue to buy Hedron so that if at some point in the future, this is the only way, or this gives me the opportunity or the option to be able to purchase Hex at a discount, then that's a super intelligent move for me. And I'll be the one who has it at dirt cheap prices. I was like, that's right. That's correct. And now like that I have more experience.
It just gives you leverage on the percentage that you can buy, like especially at that time frame. Like if this was 3 years from now and there was another dip, to be honest, I probably wouldn't be interested. I kind of already bought enough of that for me. But you know what I mean? The newness, I was 100% certain that was the bottom. Like there was no question in my mind. I mean, yeah, it could go down to 10%, 20, whatever. But like it's going to never go lower than this point, and there's no one left selling. I looked at it for days, and there was literally the ticker wasn't even moving. Like there wasn't even a click on it. And that's what I just started buying because I knew that the liquidity was just nothing. And I knew that no one was there. And I knew that Gunther God candle, they were talking about Pulse Doge everyone was buying Pulse Doge. I was like, it's time. And that's why I made a video say why I swapped my Pulse Doge for Hedron. And it was on the bottom. No, there's like a 5-day bottom, and it was in between that middle of the day. And everyone gave me shit for that. But I said, I like the free coins I got from Pulse Doge. I like Hedron better. So the money go there.
Yep. And I think that potentially, we have no idea how this will play out, but I do believe that there will be shit built for Zen. If you like pay attention to business related stuff and you can gauge that excitement, right? There's a aspect of understanding people and psychology. And when you look at this and you see the energy, right? It's polar opposites, right? You get people who understand what's going on and they're like, okay, cool. There's long-term play. understand it's a $7 gas fee. Cool. Could go to zero, might not, right? I understand how the distribution is working. I expect it to go down in the beginning, right? And then on the other side, you have people who are just like in the exact like opposite. They're emotionally charged and they're very, very full of like negativity, right? And pushing in one direction. And when you see that polarity, you see both sides of those things coming out, and you see that like the Telegram goes from like basically 0 to over 10,000 people in a split second, right? Like in a matter of days, and the activity around the planet, there's something going on. I have no idea how that'll play out, but there's so much energy and excitement, and it's hitting that polar opposites, which is like you hit your funny bone, right? You got like, you get that there's that energy on both sides. People are trying to drive both sides.
Well, and then you see the FUD, and the FUD is a great indicator generally. Like when Joker has a coin, generally it doesn't get too much FUD because no one gives a shit. But
True.
It's just like I always tell people, like if Joker came out with Hex and it was the same code, I wouldn't buy it because I don't fuck that guy. You know what I mean? Like I'm not, no way. You know what I mean? 0% chance. I don't care if he bought every dev team in the world and won the lottery, but Richard's a different animal. Richard's an absolute hoss in the space. So it's like a lot of it has to do with the person. I like to remind people, and I respect Richard so deeply, and I think he's so intellectually like been beneficial to everyone. And he's not perfect. And I don't highlight the things about him that are negative generally because I don't want to be a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, I like the guy. I read his book 10 times. Like I don't want to be a jerk, but I will keep things in my background, and I will talk about Hex, and I will tell people when I'm buying, and I will tell people how I stake and use Hedron and ICOSA stuff. And I'm just going to do it in a way that's intellectually stimulating to me.
Correct. There's a lot of respect for, you know, creating something successful like Hex that's been out for, you know, a couple of years with no issues, right? Tremendous respect there. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that there's not other awesome shit out there. And that just because something else is cool or interesting doesn't mean that it's like back when you're in high school, right? And because a friend is hanging out with a different friend, they're like, oh, you don't like me because you're hanging out with a different friend, right? That's how the community is currently acting without understanding that like it's all about adoption. And if somebody doesn't like something, then it's very simple. You just don't get involved with it. Like, period. Like, what did GRC say? Hey, if Joker comes out with a token, hey, I'm not going to be involved with it because I don't care for the
I'm not going to tweet about it. I'm not going to review it. I don't really care much about it. And it's not because it's not going to be super successful. It's because I don't really trust the guy. So why am I even going to go there? If it works out, I'll buy some maybe. No, never going to work out because, you know, you just want there to be some stability and some honor and some unbiased information moving back and forth. But, you know, you're not going to find that on Twitter. Twitter is a place that is meant to make your life confusing and give news really fast. So you can get news really fast on Twitter, which is nice. But 95% of it is guys that are working full time, have a lot of stuff on their plate, and they're spurting things onto the internet that they haven't really locked in enough. And then it causes a bunch of confusion. So I've been staying off Twitter. Twitter's off my phone. I'm done with Twitter. So like I say the tweets that I have to say on my computer. I invite the people on. They don't show, you know, not Steph. Steph actually just said he'll be here in a minute.
Cool.
But I invite everyone on the show, Sam. Everyone that has a point. Yeah, I don't like force feed it. I'm like, K for K, you want to come on the show and talk to Sam? You want to talk to Jack Levin? No, of course not. Of course not. Steph is a little different because Steph, I knew that when I asked him. There's a reason I don't DM everyone and ask him. Like, but he said he'll be on here in a couple minutes. And again, if he doesn't come on, it has nothing to do with anything. I'm pretty sure he's a busy dude. Yes. So he said I have 30 minutes. So like generally if someone, you know, he's probably doing a couple things.
Correct.
So we're just going to be respectful to everyone, and we're going to try to make this work for everyone. I love Hex. I like Zen. I don't even say I love Zen because I don't know much about it. I just spent $300 and just learning about it, but caused a lot of uproar when people aren't making money in the asset that they have. And when the price chart of Hex has been down for so long and so deeply, people truthfully get hurt. And I understand it's a hard time, but I'm just not over leveraged. So I just don't give a fuck.
Correct. And there's a lot of like, there's a lot of people who are trying to sell. If you look at like the liquidity for V3 of Hex, like it has to eat through a boatload of Hex that needs to be sold before the price is going to go up. Like, I'm not like trying to be bearish. I'm not trying to FUD. It's just like, it's right there. Go look at the data and you're like, okay, cool. The pool is 3 million and there's, 60% of it, 80% of it that is Hex that people are waiting to sell to people who are purchasing. Okay, cool. Now that I understand that, I get that. I completely understand what's going on. I thought this was a very, very interesting comment from Steven here. People were hating on Hex, calling it a scam. This is correct. If you look back at some old streams, I'm sure that this is going to be talked about. It dropped 95% after launch. RH said, why act like you know what is going to happen?
And RH told everyone it was going to drop 95% after launch. They told them. He told them. Like, he's literally like, don't buy day one. Just like I tell people to not go on Uniswap, do not go on Uniswap and buy any kind of Zen right now. You're not supposed to be doing that right now. I tell people that it goes right through both their ears back in the out their butthole, and then it's it. That's it. They don't ever remember the good, important things. But it's important that Richard was like, don't do it. And people still FOMO'd, of course. I probably would too. But again, I would have just bought the next day as well because I don't over leverage.
Correct. Yes. Hey, did you see that Uniswap updated their UI?
Why don't you pull that up for us real quick? That would be dope.
They have a brand new user interface on their website, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of nice." I was setting up some changes.
While you pull that up, I'm going to use the bathroom. Thanks for everyone who's in the chat. We're trying to keep everything kind of calm and cool, and just lots of stuff going on in crypto right now. I really do want to be sharp. I do not want to buy in to all the silliness online. It's just not my style. I'm just not used to it. Frankly, I'm not used to it, so I don't like it. I want to be focused and do things that make my life better. And right now I have to pee. So
speaking about things to make things better, and then we're going to pull up the Uniswap while GRC is out. A couple things that I've been doing over the last month. If you have that desire to perpetually be better or to learn and grow, one thing that has been very helpful for me. So I have lists of things to do, right? But I'm not always focused on accomplishing those things on that list. So over the past month or so, I'll create my list on Sunday and print it out. And then if I accomplish everything, I also write down what I'm able to actually get, right? What do I want to purchase? Because I'm not going to buy shit for myself unless it's like an investment, right? I don't need to buy anything unless it's an investment. I want future benefits from the way I spend my money. I don't need to spend money on foolish, silly stuff today. The only way I'll do that is by rewarding myself for going through and accomplishing everything on my list. Wow, this has been tremendous like hack for me. And it's like spending $100, maybe $150, maybe $50 to go through, set a prize, set the entire list. You knock out every single thing on this list, then you get your prize. Wow, that has been tremendously helpful for me. Hopefully, if anybody feels that they're trying to accomplish more and they're not doing it, or they're just looking for ways to get better, then they're constantly testing different things. That has been super helpful for me. So this is the new front end for Uniswap. I like this. It's a new design. You can search your tokens up here, and they have even like popular ones. Actually, let's see if they rank them. Hex, Hedron. Okay, interesting. I'm just poking. I saw this last night as I was setting up the LP position, but I haven't poked around. Okay. This is interesting. I don't know if they had this before. They have the pools up here before. So if you want to set up like an LP position, you can set that up through here. And then the swap, I think that it's also slightly faster. Oh, wow. Look at this. So this is the tokens. It looks like they're going to have a rank similar to, let's actually see if, oh, there we go. Hedron, number 21. Check that out, guys. Hedron, number 21 out of all the tokens on Ethereum for Uniswap. That's pretty cool. That is bullish. Let's see where Hex is on this list. Hex is number 14 on this list. They don't tell us how they're actually ranking. Okay, this is total volume actually. So based on the volume, let's see what this says. Volume is the
I'm
amount.
really bullish on Hedron.
Did you see this, dude?
Yeah, I saw it yesterday.
Yo, I didn't poke around in it, but Hex is 14 in terms of volume on Uniswap.
Yeah.
And what's it called is like 21 or something.
Yeah, it's important to remember that these products do carry a lot of volume. Like Hex and Hedron in particular, you go to Hex Fair, you go to Hex Pal, you go to anything where it's listed. It really does carry a majority of the volume and the actual liquidity. Not all of it, but a good amount, especially for Uniswap.
Hey, Bullish, check this out. This is inside joke or whatever, basically, but LUSD, there's a lot of volume in the more recent week here. Probably
dude, LUSD is pumping, bro.
Yeah.
5 cents above the dollar.
Yeah, LUSD. We have where was Hedron here? Hedron is down, but $11 million in volume. I don't know, pretty bullish. I like this redesign. I like the redesign. It also
can you click on the ETH function on the top right? Go to the right there.
I love Los Pollos.
They got anything else in there? No, they're good. I don't want to see
Cello. I don't know what Cello is.
No, don't click on it.
Vote, get more analytics or view analytics.
Oh, they add the DAO shit to it up there.
And they have so info.uniswap.org. Let me see if I pulled this up. Can you guys see this? Okay, this looks to be the same. One of the things that I didn't like about Uniswap was how incredibly slow it was. This seems to be faster. When I don't know if this happened for you, GRC, or
Could
Bullish.
this potentially be your computer capability?
That is why I said it might just be.
I think that might be what's going on, because I think that it's pretty. Other than the transaction, I mean, there is something to be said about the transaction actually taking a little bit of time. Like sometimes a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Worst case scenario, a few more minutes than that I've seen. But generally, it's in 30 seconds or 15 seconds. Do
you have issues when you try to look up a token that it takes several seconds for? So I'll search Hedron or Hex.
If it's the only browser up, no. But if you have 750 browsers up, yeah, it's not going to load quick. So just make sure that it's just more of the computer capacity on that side, I think. Because when I don't have anything open, I can go to any website perfect. But now I have my internet plugged in. So it's I pretty much everything kind of pretty instantaneous as far as Verizon fiber optic capabilities.
Clean Horizon said that it also says it takes a very long time for him too. And Clean Horizon, let us know in the chat. Do you?
I could be wrong. I could be wrong too. But my stuff's plugged in, and I don't have a problem with it. But again, most people are not plugged directly into their router.
Correct. And mine is not. And mine's a very antiquated setup. is a nice way of putting it. Very antiquated.
Hex on ETH is 0.0316 right now, down 1.72 on the daily, getting a little pinched on there. It's getting crazy, guys. Ethereum 1258, 1,258. Bitcoin 18,911, guys. $18,911. Let's go over to a couple more things and look. Let's make sure everything looks stable. I'll pull this up real quick.
Please.
And again, if Steph was busy and he doesn't end up popping in, guys, I'm sorry about that. That's just false advertising 101 for me. So that you can put that on my L board. But if he comes in here, we'll be obviously we'll just pop him right up. So what do we got here, guys? I don't look at nomics all that much anymore unless I'm looking at Ethereum stuff. But let's look at Ethereum stuff right now because I think it's critical. So we got Bitcoin, which is down 1% on the daily. But let's see how low she actually go last night or whenever this was. 17,827, guys. I felt that shock. That's what woke me up this morning. The gods. I said, "Whoa." Because guys, they have been testing this downward 18,000 mark again and again and again, and it's pushing, and people are getting more desperate and maybe but then there's specifics involved, like insolvent centralized exchanges. That's stuff that you can't always predict. There's people that could do mega dumps, but then there's also people that could do mega buys, I guess. I don't know the fuck, but yeah, people. And then there's also probably a crowd of people DCAing now. into Bitcoin, even though I would say that's not smart whatsoever, unless you have like $1 million like of like FU money that you want to do it with. That's like secure. I wouldn't do it personally. Maybe like 100 grand. Maybe 100 grand's fair. Like if you really want to be super safe, but like fuck that. I don't like that. I hate Bitcoin. Bitcoin is this is what Bitcoin is. I've been saying this a lot. Bitcoin is a utility token for centralized exchanges. And it gives something for Ethereum to wrap. Literally, it does nothing else because no one uses it on the network itself. So Sam, let's see. We saw what happened with Bitcoin. Let's look at what happened with Hex right here. Are we touching on it? It kind of went out of that 3 mark, like, but again, do you see how Bitcoin tested that mark so many times? And I feel like Hex kind of floated above that mark a little easier, like that really, whatever resistance it was at the moment. And that's why I think when people say, like, Richard has mentioned that he feels like the Hex bottom might be in, I feel like I could potentially agree with that. And I'm trying to get people to not think he's saying that just because he's Richard, because I really don't think he would say that. But I think he actually has a point, because I think I could see it. I could see what he's trying to say. He's like, man, this thing gets sticky around 3 cents, 2.5 cents. People really start pouring in. But does that bias change over time as the days get elongated in the same proportion that it does? Like, people are like, yeah, it's so strong, but how many days until you're like, and again, bear market 101. But again, around 1 cent, I'm getting a little bit frisky.
That reminds, like, if you think of the analogy relative to, say, Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has been toying with that 19,000, 18,000, jumping through that and then immediately getting bought back up. And Hex has kind of been doing the same thing, but for like the 3 cent mark, right? Where it shoots below 3 cents and then just goes right back up to get bought back up. So yeah, that is kind of interesting analogy there when you look at those two there. Another play that could be interesting play out. I saw this article from where was it? Crypto Slate, Mt. Gox Exchange. This is from a couple of days ago, but Mt. Gox Exchange releases guidelines for BTC repayment. So we could take a look through that and actually see what they're saying about how they're going to release these BTC. Because if we have a better understanding of how Mt. Gox, the people from the court, are going to actually be distributing the Bitcoin from back in the day, from 2014, that might give us an indicator of when this is going to drop out, when the bottom is going to drop out, if the bottom does drop out, right? Because if we know that all these coins are going to hit the market, that would be interesting. Did you see the same type of analogy with Ethereum, where you have that testing of like the 3 cents with Hex, or the testing of like 18,000 for Bitcoin, and then it pops right below, it goes below and right back up? Do you see the same thing with Ethereum?
Yeah, so I'm going to assume, let's go to it. Oh my God, I thought I was looking at my DMs right there. Whoopsie poopsie. It scared me. Not that I would have taken high, but I'm like, oh, sketched out. So let's go to Ethereum, and what you're going to see, and you can, like, when you're doing a browse through, guys, you can always check this. If you already know the correlations to a degree, that's why these are here for the guys that kind of just like passively look at this all the time. And they're just like, okay, I can see that these two things acted to a degree similar, but the shape is always going to look a little different, right? Tether did the opposite because everyone was swapping into Tether, right, Sam? Mm-hmm. Everyone was swapping from Bitcoin and from Ethereum to Tether. Therefore, you saw that little pump right there, opposites, because of the trading pair. And you'll see the same thing with USDC coin, action. But Binance more going to be correlated to the active market. Let's see if there's anything that pops off that active market scale that's not a stable. So you'll see the stables pop up. What's OKX utility coin? I'm going to go ahead and just pass on that one.
It is in the top 20, but we have no
it's almost there. It doesn't get it. If it was here, I would have done it.
Oh, close.
The name's too shitty. I can't even what OKX utility token? Like, that's not sexy.
No,
that's not sexy, guys. We're ending this here. Oh, Kronos. Wonder what they're doing. What is Kronos getting into right now? I don't purchase any of that stuff, to be honest. I know people that use their credit cards though. Like I actually do know people. Like I have never done that shit because I'm lazy. But guys, we have a super special guest. He's in the green room right now. I don't know how long we'll have him. Steph, StakerApp. He's been in this thing longer than the GRC. And that's just the facts of the matter. And I don't have too many people's notifications on Twitter. Not too many. But I keep certain people because when they do say things, like generally there's some detail attached to it and it's rather enticing to read, frankly. But I'm going to bring him on. This is Steph from Staker. My first time meeting him, guys. We haven't talked other than exchanging online. And I'm sure Sam, same, I'm pretty sure. Let's get into it. I'm super excited. I just want to make sure I press the right button.
Steph,
Hello, guys.
good
Thanks for having
morning.
me.
Dude, your video quality is so good.
It's
I
just
love that.
this classic Logitech C22 cam, but it's 1080p, so it's quite good quality.
Nice to meet you, man. My name's
Nice to meet you.
GymRat. This is Sam, and I know we've talked online, but it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, we did. I tend not to be the most active online on my personal accounts. I even deleted the Twitter from my mobile phone a few months back. But recently I had a bit more time on my end. We're about to make a couple of announcements related to the StakerApp. So I went back to Twitter, being a bit more active, and I've seen just as I was getting back to playing with a bit more with Twitter, I've seen the launch of the Zen token, and I think that's what led us to be here tonight. Normally I just don't criticize project. I'm fairly withdrawn, but I felt that I was not understanding the purpose of that token, so I said, "Oh, let's jump in and explain."
And you do it in a fun way. You do it in you keep the rules at least in play. Like you don't say anything that's gonna like completely damage someone's intellectual right to think about the thing, right? And that's what is hard for me sometimes. And I'm just being honest. And it's not with you. Like I've invited you on the show. Clearly, that's not what I was bringing you on for. I wanted to talk. But I see people that are truthfully smart and intelligent undercutting points that I think need to be highlighted for people to really understand. But I'm starting to believe that some people just don't care. I know some people don't care all the time, but I think it's important to care a little bit for the average person, like about what's actually going on. I'm not making $1 billion on any of this stuff. I'm just being transparent and doing it. I'm kind of lazy half the time, to be frank.
And it's worth mentioning that with social media, it's so easy because it's textual first. It's so easy to misconstrue what people actually mean. Some people share some information, detailed information. Some others just want to do some level of entertainment. Others just want to troll or just express their anger, right? And sometimes it's a mix of all these different things, right? So when you read a tweet, it's like, what are you parsing? And depending on your own emotional state, you might overreact a lot. Maybe the person just wanted to have fun and you're overblowing it. In my case, with my latest Zen Twitter streak, it was a bit of both, a bit of information, a bit of fun. I came up with this kind of proof of bot meme. I run with it.
Dude, it was so funny that like I wasn't allowed to say it was super funny, but I'm like, dude, that is so fun. Like I love.
I had so much fun. It was no anger. I understand the concept. Obviously, people that just means 1 or 2 wallets of gas, they're not gonna be right. But just I went. It's a meme. Sometimes it's not so much about what it is, but I use that meme because I understood the game theory behind it. It was last month, I entered the Zen Telegram group and I asked Jack one question. It was how the project is going to be able to mitigate bots minting addresses. Did he run any simulation, Monte Carlo simulation? And he said he ran a simulation. He had some modeling, but he did not share more specific. And that he thought that using the log2 function on top of minting address for inflation would be enough to mitigate like the accumulation of Zen by people.
Oh my
that can
God,
do
this
things
is so
algorithmically.
nice to hear. I just love all the logic and the detail that because I knew you understood this. I knew, and I'm going to be done talking in a second, but as I'm going to let you go because everything you're saying is true. But I knew you knew what you were talking about, and this is great to hear. And I think I would love you to continue to express some of these concerns. And sorry for interrupting.
No, that's fine. You can go back to the Zen Telegram group. If you search for Monte Carlo, you will see my name with further down the line a response from Jack. And I said, okay, thanks for the input. I felt that something could be flawed, right? I was like, well, it might work, it might not work. It depends on how fast bots are minting versus the rest, how they're distributing across time, how they're doing the arbitration between dexes. So I knew that was a potential risk. And when I started my tweet streak last Saturday, I came up with the realization that as I was tweeting, it's like, well, if actually works, there's a small, in my observation, there's small chances that this thing goes mainstream and be the next thing that everybody wants. But if it was the case, that would mean that Zen is so popular that people wanted to mint it, but whether buy it or mint it, it doesn't matter. And that means that Ethereum will be very expensive because you need some ETH just to mint it, or whatever native chain on which is being deployed.
Yeah,
So
but what about the game theory where Ethereum drops to $400 in all of our faces?
Oh, well, there's
propped
short term,
up.
for sure. There's short term play versus long term play. I'm thinking like if it really works, within 5 to 10 years, these things is really big. Well, everybody in the world will want to mint something, meaning everybody in the world will need some ETH, right? So it's almost like ETH will always, with that observation, it almost felt like ETH will always do better than whatever native chain is on top of it. So I think it's kind of like a limiting supply. And then, so the game theory wants that if you really believe that, you better just buy some ETH and not mint Xen.
Yeah, no, it makes exact sense. And that's why I just wanted to I'm just intellectually stimulated by a lot of this stuff. And I'm not super big on bragging about anything. Like if I could take my shirt off and take all sorts of pictures, but like whatever, like I just like to learn this crap. I don't want to do that other stuff. I don't want to deal with all that other stuff. I don't like talking hot girls and all that crap. I don't want to do any of that crap. I want to learn this stuff. I really, really do. And I'm telling you, guys like me do not get a chance to learn this. In general, I got lucky. I got out of whatever situation I was in, and I got busy learning. But I know most of the guys that were in my situation could not do that. So I just want to be here as a resource so they can actually learn. I just want people to actually learn what's going on in general. I told people I spent $200 and now $300 in gas fees. Guys, please. I spent $300 on gas fees. And I told everyone not to buy on Uniswap for 4 days straight. I said, you don't understand the ratios, don't buy on Uniswap. You don't understand the ratios, don't buy on Uniswap yet. Let it mature a little bit. So I just wanted, in talking to you has already been great. Sam, do you have any questions?
Yes.
I would love to not be talking and just listening because it's great.
Hey, what's up, Steph? Hey, great to meet you, dude. Good. Glad you came on. I was thinking similar along those lines. Like, okay, so people would just be able to mint this over time, and then that's going to drive up gas costs, right? But then I'm like, okay, if this is like successful over the next 3, 5, 7, 12, whatever years it takes to do so, then we also, if that's the case, then we also have to layer in the piece with Ethereum sharding, Happy Day, whatever the other 3 or 4 pieces that they want to implement that should drive down the cost of this over time. What were your thoughts on that? Right. Because if gas fees on average now are a little bit higher, right, than they have been. So now in the future, whether that's 6 months or 16 months and say sharding comes out, or the next iterative thing that they have for scaling on Ethereum that say, because I've heard Vitalik mention that whether it's the sharding or the next layer on top of there, he believes that there's going to be 100 to 1,000x decrease in the cost to transact on Ethereum. I don't think it's going to happen in 3 months, maybe in 3 years or 4 years, but that's still in that time frame of like, if Zen is successful, then you're layering this in there. Go ahead.
I think the point you're trying to make is like, hey, is there any relationship with the scalability of the native chain with the price of Zen? I don't think it matters that much. The only thing that The only kind of correlation has to do with the kind of proof that you're trying to achieve. Social proof by minting your Xen. So Xen is a hybrid proof of gas, depending on what chain you're on, proof of weight, right? There's two ways to get it. Either you delay identification, but the people building bots can be smart enough to say, well, I'm gonna ladder my minting across times, right? So it's what I would do. Full transparency, I'm not bot mining Zen. I actually did some money because I understood the game story. I did a bit of money on Zen myself personally because I knew that it would not be sustainable long term, in my opinion. So all the gain will be made short term. So so because I've done the proper thinking, I actually made some money on Zen. And when I'm saying I made some money against whoever decided to set the price or buy up the price. I don't know who gave me the other side of the pair, right? Who put it some USDC?
I think you might have got some
Zen.
MEXC action going on right there
Zen,
too. Like, dude, I was the whole time I was thinking to myself, because I had the ratio up on my thing, and I was like, okay,
it's 10x. It was 10x.
Right, and I was like sitting there. I'm like, okay, whose money is this? And I think those guys were getting in and trying to figure stuff out, but they maybe didn't understand the deploying action. I mean, the mint over time kind of action, and they started. That's why my biggest message was like, don't buy on Uniswap. Don't buy on Uniswap, please, because that ratio needs to go down. And Jack, I talked to Jack this morning, and he said this ratio needs to go. He said it will go down. Like, frankly, it'll go down really low. Like, that's what it's supposed to kind of get to. Where people started, that's just the nonsense, right? Like, that's just the whole thing. But if you day one minted a lot on Ethereum, which to be honest was very hard to extrapolate, you made out like an absolute god.
You just said a 10x.
I made a bit of money on it because I did a couple of like handful of wallets with one day minting and throughout the first week. I did a lot of money on Zen for free. But it's what happens in all these cases, short-term games. Only people that think more deeply than any other. It's like trading. Only 1% of people making money. If you're too short-term minded, you can't beat people that think more deeply than you or are having tools or bots, right?
Do you think that T rank though really makes a good difference over time? Like we're talking about. So we saw on Binance all those one-day mints come in, change the dynamic completely because so much of that circulating supply was on the market, and it made it more liquid and more makes sense, to be honest, because people learned from let's front run this one. Oh wait, now the
for sure. Yeah. Once
so
people,
what do you think about the cross chain kind of?
Even on Ethereum, after Thursday, people realized that there's money to be made, and so I need to be fast just to extract that money out of like the arbitrage, right, between the cost it was to mint it versus what the market's currently pricing it. And you've seen I use like a Dune Analytics. It's kind of a analytics website where you can do a lot of query on chain. And I think Zen or someone in the community came up with a lot of queries, and the distribution of terms from changed completely on the Thursday. People realize, okay, there's a short-term arbitrage opportunity. Let's try to mint a lot of day ones, right? But the opportunity is almost like you collapse the opportunity when you do that, right? Everybody wants to arbitrage against the same thing. So I really don't know who provided some liquidity for me just to make money. I think it must be someone
MEXT and just the random person because people buy things on Deck Screener when it goes number one just because it's number one. Yeah.
But why do you think they would lose money? Why would they would give me free money like that?
Because they don't understand the supply. They don't.
It wasn't even that. And to jump in, because I'm one of the guys who's been transparent about running a bot. I was running my bot for convenience, try to lower my minting costs, and I was doing everything 100 days out. No one expected the centralized exchanges to mint their own coins and then provide liquidity for it.
Right, but there's no. But guys, do you agree? You're speculating. You actually don't know who.
No. Like it was confirmed that they minted themselves and also provided liquidity in order to buy more supply.
I just saw the action on MEXC. Like I was just like, because we were watching it as it went down, and MEXC just attached to the dang thing, like right when it came. So I was I was wondering and calling everyone. I said, "There's a 20x, there's a 10x here." I said, "There has to be some centralized exchange that's putting some kind of money into this for something, because dollar in, dollar out, like you know."
Because if you only look at the pure minting costs, right, very quickly they're starting I actually didn't look the channel list on detail, but someone could do that. Say, hey, among the different potential bots that made minting some Zen, how much did they distribute the terms over different addresses? And did they change that pattern over time? Did they learn something and they tweak their bot to change the strategy? Like someone could do that analysis. I don't have time just to go that deep, but it'd be very interesting. Regardless, the amount of the ETH value that's been burned is in order of millions of dollars, right? So I haven't tracked it recently, but last time it was a couple of days, it was more than $4 million. So I was like, maybe collectively, but at least themselves, given the current distribution is more than 60-70% of the tokens, they burn a lot of it, right? And I'm just, was it a bet is that someone in the team that made a bet? It's like, hey, there's something to do short term.
I think it's just
we can extract value from retails and let's try to market quickly. And say, okay, they made a bet. And maybe
think about it. I use MEXC. I have never used centralized exchange other than Coinbase in my life. Until ETHW came out, I was like, I want some ETHW. How do I get it? Because it was day one. I was like, well, I'd like to speculate a little bit, and they said MEXC. Now I use MEXC, sparingly, but I use it. Like I don't use other stuff. I just use that because they get guys like me to put volume on there now. Now they have because Zen is on there and someone traded for the first time or obtained it there. They now use it because they know it's safe and they feel like it's friendly enough to. And there's no KYC. So, for example, I didn't know I could use no KYC so easily until MEXC was available to me.
Go ahead.
And this is the chart of the ETH supply since the merge, and it was up and up and up. And then that point at the top is when Zen launched and put the supply of ETH deflationary, which is I found it interesting. But what I wanted to ask you about, like this just shows the magnitude of energy that is pushed in that direction. You just mentioned $4 million in gas. That's a lot of gas fees, right? So my
was
question,
that ratio pushing over anyway? Like I want to know, like if Zen didn't occur, what that chart would look like.
So the objective, the way the new tokenomics of Ether since the last major updates and the merge occurred is that at a certain activity level, the Ethereum blockchain basically is burning, right? So they just expect ETH, regardless over time, to be the thesis of most people, the Ethereum community or the people like being very bullish on ETH is that it's going to be one of the major settlement layer for the world, right? Now we are at the stage that everybody recognizes that, it's not going to be one chain. It's going to be kind of a multi-chain world, but a bit like Android, iOS. Hey, you have a duopoly, triopoly kind of situation, and everybody's fighting for that second or third place. Maybe it's going to be PulseChain, right? It's going to be a Ethereum PulseChain. That would be a nice world, right? So
what do you think? What do you think the future looks like? And you're honest. Obviously, you're not a crystal ball. None of us are. No one that ever. What do you think? Like in general, like you don't have to give numbers, of course. Just like normal stuff. Like, what do you see happening? Do you see this as classic every day? Another day in business, bear market shaking people out heavy, and then it's back to business for a lot of these product market fit coins? Or do you see maybe a stir up at some point? Maybe, and I'm not talking about Hex or anything. Like I'm just talking about in general with Ethereum as a network. Like, what do you see as you move forward? Some of the other chains, etc.
Let's put the market aside right now because yes, we can discuss about market once we understand like the fundamental. So my vision, and I made a video with Silver the Antidote last summer about it. I think it's still public, where I made the prediction that we're going to be anyway in a multi-chain world because blockchain are very, very powerful tool, right? For censorship resistance, having something permissionless, transparent. Humans, if you know about blockchain and you understand the fundamental of it, you cannot unsee it, right? At some point, you say, hell, imagine a new generations like, oh, do I want a centralized, database that I don't have any view or control over versus that new product? That technology just is changed the world, right? When Satoshi invented like this concept of blockchain, decentralization, transparency, you cannot unsee it. And that's why over time, that technology will just eat the world, right? We're going to see more and more transparent blockchain. And so my view is like we're going to enter a multi-chain world. How many very large blockchain we're going to have versus smaller ones, maybe little ILO blockchain. Maybe you're running a city and you want to have a blockchain for your city. I don't know how much granularity you're gonna have for all these different blockchains, but very likely you're gonna have like major ones where people are settling onto, and maybe this layer 2, layer 3 blockchain will settle on this major fundamental chain. So it's gonna be a mix of growth vertically and horizontally, together.
And we're still so early, like we're in 1.0 effectively of crypto. Like we're 14 years in. Like the amount of innovation and stuff that we're going to see change over the next 14 years is going to astonish. Like it's like 1995 to 2010. You're like, holy crap, this internet thing is actually good. Back in 1995, people are like, wasting time on the internet. You can't. And then shit just evolves and grows, and then we're at where we're at today, and people have no idea. But I wanted to ask you, Steph, about Zen before.
And when you have to go, Steph, I know everyone's busy.
Yeah,
so
I reorganized my schedule, and I should have
great. So just whenever, just let me know, please.
Yeah.
So I want to start with Hex, right? To give context. So Hex has a lot of people that are very excited about Hex, right? And they're doing the recruiting to add new people to the network. Cool. Awesome. Right. That's fantastic. Now, when you look at what's happened around Hex, there's derivative products that have been built on top of Hex. There's coins that have been built to help Hex, right? Just because this economic energy is growing, right? But one thing that is different, and I'm not trying to, just because this is what we're talking about, this is the community, I'm not trying to say anything bad, but I want to hear your opinion on this. Okay. Hex, if I stake it and then I get you and you stake it and that repeats the process, everybody gets less of that pool, right, of the staking rewards. Now, Zen on the other side, I've personally never seen anything in crypto like this. And I'm not saying I've been in crypto forever, but since the time I have been paying attention to this, or even relating to other things, the amount of excitement, the amount of polarity from either side, because it's not just like, oh, people are like, yeah, there's new things coming out. You have this thing that struck a nerve to the point where people are like, oh, wow, this is fucking absolutely gold. This is super, 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 super amazing. And the other side is just like so emotionally charged, right? It's like the right and the left over the last 36 months in terms of political stuff. But in the Zen case, people get rewarded with more when new people come in versus in the Hex case, people get less when new people come in. So these are just to set the context. When you see that much excitement, when you see that $4 million,
okay, can you be very specific, because you made a statement and I'm not sure it's true.
So what my question to you is,
for example, in any token, assuming that inflation is reasonable over time, and it's going to be the case at some point, in 8 years for Zen, you make more the more people join. That's very simple. I mean, in crypto, it's like you just need to onboard more people than any other token.
Not when it comes to staking. Not when it comes to staking. That's not how staking pools work.
Oh yeah, for staking, I agree. But you need to understand that the game is more into price. You make more money about price appreciation rather than staking. Staking is the carrot.
Correct. I'm not arguing with that. I'm not saying anything. I completely agree. It's about adoption. That's correct. Mm-hmm. Adoption is the play, period. Staking design, on the one hand, you come in, I earn less. On the other hand, you come in, I earn more. Fundamental difference, right? Both, you need adoption. Now, given that this is all taking place and the amount of like people that are excited, whether that's excited on one side or excited on the other side, what do you, I mean, like, I think that things are going to be built around Zen personally, right? I think that that's the case, given that there's so much of this happening. There's so much of this like taking place, this energy, whether it's positive or negative. I just see things getting built on it. And I wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean,
obviously, these are my personal beliefs. Correct. That's why I wanted to ask you.
Even with Hex, with most crypto, we don't really know. We just know that fundamental technology is here to stay, like the blockchain. Which shape it's going to take, maybe, there's someone that comes up with, it's almost like looking at Bitcoin. I bought Bitcoin, not the most early, but around 2014, 2015. I've been lucky enough to buy the bottom of that cycle. I made a mistake because I was a noob. I didn't know to sell way too early. So I doubled my money in Bitcoin. I had 100 Bitcoin. I doubled my money in Bitcoin. I was like, yeah, this is really cool. And it has to do with my background. I come from France, and we don't have a huge culture of risk investment. And for me, it was like, okay, if I enter in this stuff, it makes a bit of money, I cash out, and I move on. But I would have been I'm doing okay, but I would have been in a very different position today if I had not sold too early. And that lesson is the reason why I'm in X, and I understand how powerful it is to, through multiple cycles, not being able to sell. So I like what I think Jack came up with, a couple of different parameters, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like, yeah, it's hybrid, proof of gas, proof of weight. I like the couple of new parameters they implemented. They're interesting, but they're not fundamentally different from what X is. Some of them, I believe, are weaker. The way inflation is calculated for is static or calculated for users. So really, it's not
really
that
comes to like price
sexy.
appreciation, right? Like it just depends because Richard kind of markets Hex because he made so many positive externalities in it for price appreciation too. Like it's so price positive for every reason that it could be. And he published that, he told everyone, and maybe that we'll have to wait for the cycle to be over. And I'm not saying it's going to move like it did when it was brand new. Come on. We're not day one. We're not going to think like that. We're going to be smarter than that. We're going to think about adoption, adding more users, but there being a new floor at a way higher rate, and this kind of going again. We'll just see what that rate is this time. And again, everyone's going to make out pretty well, I'm sure, right? Like no one's going to be eating out of dumpsters when the bull market's coming. I have a feeling, but I want people to understand. Like I use staking. I stake 33% of my Hex speculatively in the future, 4 to like 7 years and 11 years and 15 years. And I just leave that there. And I probably won't add just personally to that too much, because of where I'm at personally. Like if I had 100 grand, yeah, I would definitely speculate some extra. Like just if I had just like 100 grand, yes, I would love to speculate another 10, 20.
Yeah, the more money you have, the more you can play, for sure. Yeah.
But I always tell people having USDC on the sideline is critical. It's critical to have some sort of dollar. You need to be able to play. If something goes down in crypto, which happens all the time, PulseChain could launch in 3 weeks. You want to buy the bottom of PHEX or not? So having US dollar no matter what, just because opportunity exists, knowing moving forward, I think it's one of my biggest ethos is moving forward. But also having a lot in stakes and stuff.
No, I agree, and I relay that message. I've been very lucky not to have to sell my crypto ever at the bottom. If anything, I sold a bit too early my Bitcoin, as I mentioned earlier, but this is the most painful stuff. When you know that the asset is here to stay, and you're selling, even if, let's say, the price of X today, or any crypto goes down another 30%, 50%, which it may be, you don't want to sell. You don't want to sell today because it's not 100% sure, and you know that it's already retraced so much that you're just now gambling, right? It's almost trying to time the bottom or time the top is nearly impossible. So you can just probabilistically try to get closer to that. And one good way is hey, when I feel that things have retest a lot, let's try to DCA in. When things are overheated, let's try to DCA out. That's the best way to do it. And you don't need to DCA the old stack, just enough to survive, or
10%
leave off
number, 10%.
for a little bit, to replay on the other side when things are just cooling off.
Thank you for all of that. And so you mentioned Zen. None of us know this future. I don't even think Jack would say he know. It's hard to extrapolate what human beings are capable of when things start moving. And sometimes human beings are capable of really bad things. I know this to be true. And when things are in their infancy, sometimes there can be troubles that you cannot always extrapolate in your mind. So I want everyone to be super safe moving forward. And I do this channel for the new user. A lot of the guys in Hex for a while, they enjoy the show, of course, keep up to date, enjoy stuff like that. But they know what they're doing if they're left on their own. If they're left on their own to their computer with no YouTube, they'll be fine. But there's guys in there, that really are like, man, could this really work out for me? And those guys will be really affected by the bull market. And I'm trying to have some synergy here. And I'm trying to make Hex better. I really am. I like Hex. I don't talk crap about Richard Heart. I like Richard Heart. I like all the Hexicans, but I really don't have enough financial leverage in the product to like not focus on other stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, Richard said it many times, right? There's a few ways just to make money in crypto. Either you're, an exchange, or you're a founder, or you get very early in some tokens, right? So these kind of like two. He often says the first two, but the truth is like, yeah, if you go to the floor of any new token, that is a lot of return. You can put a little ticket and do quite well compared to any other investment that you could make in your life. So these things are true. So that always create that tendency, and sometimes maybe it's a bias where you think that, oh, there is a new shiny object there, let's try to jump on it. That will be my savior. And it's really hard because then you become unfocused, right? You can say, oh, well, there is 100 new things that are just getting started, and this old one has already been there. It's like, how much more I can do? Maybe try 50, 100 of them, and obviously you need to spread your attention, time, research across all of them. So the quality of your research is gonna go down. Statistically, you're just gonna lose money. That's just the statistic, right? It's better just to have like a concentrated, high conviction portfolio that just betting on anything, right? So that's true of any market. Diversification goes only so far, and yeah, I understand it's bear market. People are looking for opportunities, but the opportunity is waiting, accumulating a few things of high conviction, and waiting on the other side. The opportunity is to be ready to cash out a little bit, because this is the issue. People are not prepared, and then they arrive on the other side. They get very emotional, like they are today with shiny objects. They get very emotional. They never sell, and then the cycle restart again. So don't sell the job.
So being somebody who's been in crypto for like you, right? You mentioned 2014 roughly, right? So 10 years, almost 8 years, right? So when you've been in for that long, what are some takeaways that you can give people on how that you might approach it, right? That you have found value of like, hey, every 3x I take 5% off, every whatever parameter, rules of thumb, thought processes that have been valuable to you through multiple cycles that you can glean or pull forth, because I think that's going to be valuable for people who are listening.
Yeah, I mean, these are things that are not kind of common sense, right? When everybody around you starting FOMOing and say, oh, I need to do it, I need to buy. Someone that you never, old school friend that's calling you, say, oh, you have a crypto show. Sam, can you tell me what this is? A time where you're starting thinking, oh, things are over, eating on that front. A second friend's calling you, say, oh shit, I need to scoop up a bit. That's generally the top. It always happens. It's like FOMO in the market, in the news. You see like all the mainstream media is like, oh, Bitcoin new all-time high, all this type of thing. That's the time where you start thinking. Maybe you don't pull everything. Start this thing out, and often a couple of months later, then things are just starting to cool down. It's hard. It's a wave. It's a wave of people making the mental step. It's like, well, has been 10 years. I keep hearing about crypto. I missed the first wave. I missed the second one, and you always onboard more people that were on the fence, and you have this curve of adoption where you have the people that take the most risks, and then the innovator, and then you have this S curve, right? We're still early. Like most people in the world, they don't even know about crypto. So
no one, nobody knows.
There's some people that don't know.
So Steph, everyone's been asking about the safe air. I've gotten like 11 questions, so ignoring it would just be social. I just haven't looked. I've been so swamped with stuff right now, but I would love to know all of the things that you're doing, any links that you have, anything that you want to talk about on this, and explain this to everyone.
So for those that don't know, I'm the CEO of StakerApp, Staker. The company is called Staker, and we built an application called StakerApp that the initial aim was very early on in 2020. In May, I found my co-founder, Fireburn. He's also built Dex.Vision, X.Vision, and a lot of statistical tools. And the aim was, I realized for myself that at the time I was still working at Google, that it's too hard for getting into Hex. I love the product personally. He started doing it already at the time. He had done a 10x, but I could see that past a certain amount of stakers, it would reach critical mass. And for those that don't know, in any kind of a product with network effect, critical mass is the limit at which, or the threshold at which the system is self-reinforcing themselves, right? You have more and more users staking for more time, more of their money, the only thing they want to talk about is what they basically put in the future, right? So the reason why the X community is so strong is because they have most of their money locked for many years. So they're going to be promoting the product for more than any other token out there. It's only a side effect. Xicans can only be more maxi than anyone else, just because of how much faith they put in the future on the product. It's just a side effect. And I understood that the first time Richard put that on the board, like, well, if he crosses that limit, I did some simulation. It was around 10,000 stakers for more than 3 years. Given the nature of the crypto market and cycle, these things will never disappear. That idea will never disappear, right? And that's what we're seeing with now. Even it's taking a new shape and it's going to be copied on PulseChain, then whatever the new substrate down the line, what we're creating as a Mexican communities is here forever. That idea, that concept is.
I can totally see why you came out with StakerApp now. Like I could see it because as a user too, yeah, I'm like, dude, none of my random peoples are going to do this, because he was working at Google at the time, or it was just whatever transition period you were in. And you were like, dude, I'm too technical. And this is probably even a stretch for like some of my friends. And you were probably like, I can only imagine if my grandmother or my little sister or my little cousin or my neighbor kid wants to get involved and it's his 20th birthday and he just made $1,000.
That's it. That's
no chance.
As simple as family. That's as simple as family. I would say, oh, my parents are about to retire. How can I get them in retire earlier? Like a few years earlier. That would be a nice, parting gift. And I look at what I did just to get into X. The amount of first content I had to absorb. I'm lucky because I'm a software engineer by training, so I could, reverse engineer the smart contract, check that everything was foolproof, write the audit, did some simulation myself in terms of getting a sense of when that escape velocity in terms of user adoption would be. That's okay. You need to have an exchange, create an account, you need to create a MetaMask or having a ledger there, go to Uniswap, or at that time you need to use the adoption amplifier. First year was still available. Damn, it's using 4 or 5 websites. Who's going to invest in that? Only hardcore, crazy people could do that. So I said, okay, I love the product. I think it's doing very well past a certain threshold. I know about product at Google. I know about design, building team, engineering. I said, okay, let's try to create something that is easier for people to be onboarded onto it. There's still a bit of friction, but we try to reduce it, not only technically in the product, but also in the understanding of what dealing great friction means, right? I came up with the concept of staker leagues, right? Where you have kind of a logarithm scale of how much shares you have in the ecosystem.
You changed the game.
At that time, even 2 months later, people didn't even know about T-share. I was like, yeah, but obviously I read the smart contract before I got launched. So.
No, I just know my turtles. I just know my turtles and my squids and my sharks. Like I know my friends by their, I don't know exactly how much money they all have, but we all joke around.
It's a scale. You get a sense of roughly.
Right, like you're like, oh, I have 10. I think 10 billion hedron, because I was looking at that one last, would be 0.001%, and that would be squid. So, or 0.01%. Either way, I was just looking at the numbers. I'm like, what a fun way! What an add-on! What a value add! I'm not serious. I've used that terminology a billion times, and I'm just a user, since I started. So I think that is, now that I think about it, because you don't think about things until you're already using.
And I was almost it was almost a calling for me, because at the time I was transitioning out from Google, and I worked on I did a tweet about it. I was working on a product for kids to help them learn how to read, and the whole concept of, imagine you put a kid in front of tablets, they don't even know how to recognize the character, and you need to teach them how to read. And so the concept is hey, how can you make them something really hard that's really, even the instruction or the buttons, they can even read the button that says go back or read. So I was coming from 2 years of trying to figure out, when something is really hard for someone, how can you minimize the cognitive load so that they can get the raw concept. And so that gamification aspect just come from just the background I just had at Google, trying to scale literacy for millions of kids. And say, well, financial stuff or also complex for some people. How can you reduce that numerical aspect, because people are bad with numbers, into something funnier? So create a little storytelling with emojis and images. That's where the league system came about.
That's cool. I think that's very helpful to put a label to something that is just like data. It makes it easier for people to grasp, and it's
Yeah.
far more sticky to do that kind of thing because you're giving them a framework on how to think about data versus like just trying to remember raw data. That framework is the story that allows them to remember it. I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a turtle forever, I think,
Yeah.
but I might not be. If everything works out just how I feel like it could maybe work out, I think I could graduate
given-
to the rank.
Well, I did some post about it. Like these leagues are dynamically evolving, and even on upper leagues, there is some movements, right? Some people in bear market. This is the time that, regardless of your league, some people gonna have weekends. This is the
People
is
were
the
fighting
time.
for leagues
This is
when
the
we
time.
were at the top. Think about now. If you're fighting for a league, you might be able to make some. I haven't even looked at the numbers as hard. That's another thing I should do an episode on that and kind of just like have fun with it. I want to make it fun again. I'm trying to get some relaxation and enjoyment because I know I'm trying to bring everyone's stress levels down so we can enjoy the last 2 or 3 or 1 month or whatever, 6 months, who knows, whatever. But guys, let's just chill. Don't over leverage yourself. Don't stress yourself out. If you don't get the best deal by 10%, I promise you're fine. Like you're fine long term. 10% is not going to kill you. But I mean, have some on the sideline if Hex goes to a penny and it's really a good deal. You would like to have $2,000, $5,000, $10,000. I think that would be intelligent thing to
and
do.
DCA, and you should DCA. So you remove the stress. Right? Time is always there just to remove the short-term stress. You're stressed because you're almost seeing life in the binary views. Like, hey, this is pro gun, anti-gun. Oh, this is today. I need to invest all of the such money that I have into whatever coins and or not. You cannot live your life in such extreme binary position. You need to have like appreciate nuances, and this saying is just having nuances. Like, well, I'm gonna just scale in a little bit. If it goes down, I averaged on my price. If I'm wrong and it goes up, yeah, I didn't get the best price there, but I remove that stress, and that's worth a lot of money.
Systematic way of approaching it. Steph, did you launch 2.0 Staker 2 app?
No, we had a very interesting meeting, cool demo today, and I think we are a couple of days out from actually enabling the testing. We have about 20 beta testers that registered, so yeah, we are very close to launch. We took our time. We knew that PulseChain was not arriving anytime soon. And so we're ready.
When that's ready, if you want to not partner up, but I'd love to cover it like within a specific time frame and have some people that would like to understand what's going on, get some more awareness and stuff. Because I would like to as well.
If you when you like whatever,
just let me know. Just message me when you don't have to give me a specific date.
We have a Twitter account, so everybody will know. We already have beta testers, but everybody.
Give me a couple days. Make sure you give me a couple days because I want to be able to do it right.
Like do like a little video and music and all that.
I like to, we like to do it. I like to have fun because I'm also learning how to do this stuff. So like if I have something where I can like practice, well, I don't do all the videos. I like to see how everything goes because I want to get better at this too.
Plus, it's fun. It's fun supporting things that you appreciate, and you appreciate people putting in the work, and smart people who are helping the community. Like, why not help those people go on to the next level? It allows more people, just everybody. It's collaboration versus like competition. It's just how.
I love collaboration, of course. I would not be here just to share my input or even going on Twitter. Why would I waste my time on Saturday?
I know.
I was lucky. My partner at the time was doing something else. It's like, fuck it, let's just try to tweet storm quickly. Otherwise, on Saturday evening, I would not have been spending my time where I am right now, just doing that. But you go ahead.
Well, I want to ask, what are you personally most excited about? Like new features, updates, bug fixes?
Yeah,
what is the thing that you're most excited about 2.0?
So there's a couple of exciting stuff. Well, we already ready to supporting PulseChain. One of the core limitations of the current version of the app was being very conservative and only supporting USDC, Ether, and X. Right now, we're going full tokens. So whether it's on Ethereum or PulseChain, we'll be able to see, trade, whatever you want, like all the tokens that you have in your smart wallet. We have way more statistics in the application. The product is overall more robust. We have a couple of challenges with price charting right now because we're relying on the web embed of the DexVision website. It comes with a lot of like silly wicks that is going to move away. We're going to enable one-click claim for all of your airdrops that you should want to claim, right? So I don't think there's any other product out there that does that. So you just tap one button, you confirm your transaction, and what we can do, we can bundle transactions. That's the beauty of a smart wallet contract. You can bundle a lot of transactions. So all your Hedron stake that you want to mint against your safe airdrop and other airdrop in one button, one transaction, you can claim all of them. So it's even gas efficient because you don't have the overhead of just recreating multiple transactions for them. Both time. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff that we're putting that new version. We started writing the first line of codes. I did actually for the front end in January this year. So we announced it very early on because last year we did a lot of thinking. We had a couple of game designer coming in-house with a lot of consulting. What should be Staker V1 was kind of a proof of concept. Turned out to be more successful than we expected. And then after that, I said, well, we got two co-founders. Like we need to scale the team, hire more people, and we focus on the product, right? While people are just building sacrifices, creating sacrifices for their token or their future, making promises. We haven't launched any Staker coin. We haven't raised money from the market without delivering anything. No, for the past 18 months, Staker has been live without us making promises about we'll be there or extracting more value than we should be from the market. So that's kind of the key difference between people talking, people sending you promises, and people delivering value consistently.
And can you tell people that I forgot that there are people in here that are new, newer, and then I know it's about time I actually have to stream in 22 minutes.
Yep.
So I need to use the bathroom, potentially a longer one. But basically, guys, the last thing I wanted to say is like, right when I mentioned that I wanted to do a StakerApp show, I don't use StakerApp personally, but I don't use a cell phone for crypto. And that's just the way that I interact with crypto. But if somebody told me, hey, dude, personally, like if you got a burner cell phone, having another avenue that's a little more flexible, and this is just for me, I'm a little OCD, okay? I'm not like the average person, I would say. I would be like, oh yeah, there's probably features on there. So guys, I'm super open-minded, but I also like Hex, guys. I love Hex. Probably love is probably closer to the word necessary. And I lost so much money in Hex and I never bring it up because I love Hex and that was my fault. It was my bad. I was a construction dude. I wasn't certain about what was going on. I was playing with fire. I didn't really see it. Okay, that's cool. Let me make Hex better and not worry about losing some money in the bull run anyway, which it was overinflated at the time. So at the time it hit you hard.
It was losing because of speculation or
no, I lost because I wasn't aware.
Security.
I was clicking on things that I wasn't supposed to be clicking on as far as airdrops. And at some point I got compromised, but they took all the money way after I clicked the buttons. I clicked the buttons months and months before, and I didn't, I probably had all the stuff connected and everything.
So that's the funny thing. Like people always saying, oh, don't use mobile, but because it's less secure. Do you have the data? Do you know how many of our users came to me to say, I lost money by clicking a link and my seed phrase got exposed? How many of Staker users lost money? And I said, fuck you, all people that talk about security, people talk about security, they don't know shit about security. I was working for 3 years at Google in the privacy security team. I know more about security than most people talking about security.
Yeah.
So if I create a product and I put my name on the line using a mobile app, it's because I know that my parents, my family, my friends won't lose money on it. Right? It's not perfect. I'm not saying it's perfect, but the risk minimization compared to what people are doing with the MetaMask and the web interface and everything, I know who's losing money with us is people losing their seed phrase. And it's almost number one issue right now is like the interfaces are still a bit. People have gotten so used to go to a support page and say, hey, I lost access to my credential. Please help me. They're so used to that they don't care enough when you present them with that seed phrase, regardless of your messaging. So after the release of 2.0, we have a fast follow update that's going to focus on security and recovery. So a bit of gamification, the same way we did for financial performance, right, with these leagues. We're going to do the same thing for security. It's very, very important. It doesn't matter how much of your gains if you lose everything.
The most important.
So we're going to gamify security with some sort of incentive. We're still thinking about the way we want to do it, as well as messaging, as well as use of the smart wallet contract to enable multi-sig. So not only going to be having the on-device generated seed phrase that we offer the user when they set up their account, but if you have an external seed phrase, however you decided to generate it with hardware wallet, well, that can be a second signer. And the policy for your smart wallet could be, I need two signatures out of two out of three. It's up to you to decide how much the scheme that you want to use to sign transaction. But after that, once we've done that 2.1 update, I guarantee that we're already 10x more secure than most of people using other strategy. But will be just 100x more secure.
Dude, that was incredible. I love that because I know you know more than security about me. So I like when guys tell me what they're really good at, because sometimes we don't know too. Like I can assume whatever I want about, I don't know crap about the stuff you were doing at work, certainly. But like, I know by the way that you talk about certain points that you know the underlying fundamentals of it, like right away. And I'd love to have you on the show and talk security. And I think I'd love to have you on the show more often and talk about some of these points. And I think we can make more. I want to use the damn thing. I'm telling you guys, I'm not bull crapping you around. I like having different avenues in different tools in my tool basket, and having cell phone is a tool, and I have not used it yet. And trust me, everyone in the world will use it. In 3 years, everyone will have crypto on their phone. I know this should be true. Steph, if Steph didn't exist and Sam didn't exist and I didn't exist, cell phone crypto would still take over. We all know this. So Steph is doing really good work. All the things that people say about you, it's generally the same stuff they say about me, because you probably are saying generally what you feel and what in your heart, and whether it's true or not. People hurts people when you're being very,
when you win too hard, people just come after you. They will try to nitpick, say, "Oh, you're too successful," or "You must have done something shady just to get to where you are." Yeah, maybe, or maybe I'm just more.
I don't buy it. Yeah, I don't buy it on and everyone was telling me don't have him on, and I was like, I don't buy it. I was like, I don't buy it at all. I was like, I read all the tweets. I argued with the guy.
Bear market. It's okay. I don't mind. I understand. Like you always, the more you shine, and Richard is there as well. The more you shine, the more you will have this percentage of people that go after you, and it's just a matter of the online world, right? If you have like 10,000 followers, well, 5% of 10,000 is manageable. Maybe 50 people. If you have 1 million followers, right, it's an army of 50,000 people after you there. So it's the name of the game. The more. I would not be putting my face out there or creating a product if I wanted to be anonymous, or I was a weak person not being able to assume any criticism. So
yeah, and I have a feeling you're not going to be hiding from anyone, because just truthfully, like being on screen at all, like there's no reason for you. You don't, even if you wanted to not hide, you wouldn't have to come on stream and talk. That's a little bit transparent for some people.
I was on stage, like so second anniversary of X. I was on stage in London next to Richard, so I'm fine. It's like
great, and I think that you are awesome.
Yes, thank you. I
truthfully do, and I don't think many people are awesome. Frankly, I don't, and I appreciate you coming on here and just being honest. Like again, we're not all perfect. We all say some stuff. Again, we all get excited, have a couple beers Sunday afternoon. Who knows? Get your phone out. Your product's down. This product's up. You feel a little stressed. Whatever it is, guys. This is Bear Market 101. Come on, we know this. Richard prepared us very well for bear markets in general. And these guys gave you a beat on the bear market. And I know they did for me, because I got to sell all of my Bitcoin at 57,000 rather than the bottom like everyone else, because I was a new user and I didn't know what was going on. But I had Bitcoin in my Coinbase, and Richard was like, guys, I'm telling you, there's not enough economic energy in this world that I can think up in my head to push this thing past again. And I was like, I believe him. It seems reasonable. I thought about it. Everything he said had detail, and I'm making a petition to get the old Richard back. As far as like him just being super awesome.
It will. I think he's trying something different. It takes time. He's ramping up his his Instagram stuff. People are hurt. If it was bull market, nobody would care that much. They would actually embrace it. It's like, oh, Richard, just keep flashing these cars. It's working, right? It's just bear market. It's outside of his control. The entire macro market is afraid. So they will, that's the people are butt hurt, and they're trying to blame it on someone, right? They over leverage and they're trying to blame it on someone.
Dude, your butt, the way you say butt hurt is hilarious. Are you from France area?
Yeah, I was born in Paris, so I'm French, fully French.
Well, I think I could go on for. I mean, geez, I would go on until 8 p.m. But I'll DM you and ask you again, like next week.
One last thing very important.
Please,
One last thing
please.
very important on security and the smart wallet. The reason why we went after that smart wallet technology, we could have said, well, you don't need to buy that smart wallet because it costs gas fees just to mint that smart contract, and go with regular MetaMask strategy. But then, imagine you hack into something for 15 years and your seed phrase get compromised. What do you do? If you have a smart wallet with one owner and you feel that someone, your girlfriend, whatever, you had an argument, she might know about it. How do you upgrade ownership on your smart on your no safe smart contract? You could say, well, let's swap owner to a new owner.
We should do a whole show on security and StakerApp, because that would be very valuable to a lot of people. There's a lot of new people who don't understand security. I want to learn too. Correct. I want to learn. I don't know fully understand.
It was intentional. We made the hard bet of having people pay for something instead of having them mint a new account for free, because we wanted to protect them in the future. We actually made a bet, and will be our users. I bet it in a few years they will say, thank you, we went with a smart wallet versus staking on a regular account, where my seed phrase, if compromised, I can't do. And now I'm sweating that someone might EEA my stuff before me. That's gonna be you'll hear how many people don't have a smart wallet with stake on it, and how is that sweating if
you have a job, oh my God, if you have a job and you have a stake coming out, get ready. If you have anything come up, if you get in any fender bender, if you get in anything, you're gonna be telling the cop to screw off and running down the street to get to your computer. I love thinking about the versatility that this is going to create in my life. And the only reason I didn't talk super positively about phone stuff is because I never used it, because I'm like, people around here will mug your shit. But it was not as, I never looked into the detail, and I told everyone, the future is the phone, my friend. But right now, I feel better with 4 laptops and Trezors all over the place. That's not optimal.
And that's the future. You're gonna have like your app there with like a multi-sig session. Maybe one of your seeds coming from or signatures coming from a hardware wallet. So you're not even worried if your phone, even with the app open after biometric signature, that someone has access to your account, because they can only sign a transaction if they have access also to hardware wallet, right? So this is the future. We want to do it right, the right messaging for new users, right? The more tools and flexibility you give to users, as they actually be at their detriment, because they might shoot themselves in the foot, right? How we know I've got 2 seeds just to manage, right? So we need just to be very, very conservative in the way we roll out these new security features, but because we want to do it right. But again, thank you guys for having me. Go ahead.
Just to add real quick to this convo, I think also this community has been trained to try not to do crypto on their phones. So that's another reason why too many people are not like that familiar with it.
I mean,
I agree
phone
with
is not
you.
the
Like
issue.
crypto,
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, I agree that like the crypto mobile is the future, but at the same time, this community has been like so like, don't do crypto on your phone, don't do crypto on your phone, don't do crypto on your phone unless it's a StakerApp. That's usually what I hear.
And that's coming more from, I think there's going to be a wave. And again, guys, there's marketing timing and a lot of this stuff. I mean, you could have the best product in the world, but if you launch it when there's 200 people paying attention, not the best, or whatever the number. Of course, the 200 number was random, but you'd rather that be 50,000, 100,000 people. Direct. So there is some nuance here, because there is like, it's not the sexiest thing known to mankind. You're not saying you're just going to make ridiculous gains or something. You're just saying like there's this really awesome, versatile way to experience crypto on your cell phone safely, more safely potentially. And I'm going to be diving into that. And I believe everything that you're saying about all of that. And I want to know.
That's what we're going to do when we release like the follow-up version 2.1 with a lot of security features. We're going to just do a bit of we already have some insight, industry comparison in terms of like how many people are losing their seed phrase or getting wrecked with a MetaMask versus us. And my goal as a company, I told the team, is like, we want 100x the current level of MetaMask. If they up their game along the way, right, and they provide, all these advanced features, everybody will just be better. But yeah, I want more competition. And on that last note about competition, I was really surprised because we first announced the StakerApp May 2020, May or June. And at that time, I was expecting to have more front ends, more option for people to stake, right? And all the people that have been criticizing StakerApps, like, hey, you haven't released anything for the past year or so. It's like, well, where's the competition? Who is working? You know how many lines of codes? We built V2 from scratch. So we're excited to launch it very soon, guys. It's coming with a lot of new features.
Launch V2 from scratch?
We rewrote all the lines of code back and
Golly, have mercy. That is amazing.
For quality, for security, all the things that we are feeling that they're not the best. It's gonna be great. I mean, it was for us as a company, we wanted to scale up, to onboard more engineers. So sometimes we need just to clean up a bit of like your backend, so to speak. But we're very excited. It's coming with a lot of features. It's not perfect again, but over time, these things will just push the industry forward, right? And I hope we'll be there for many years to come, many decades. As a community member in the X community and my co-founder ourselves, we are fully staked with a weighted average duration past 10 years. So that tells you that we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I like it. I don't care what anyone says. This is why I try to wait until I can talk to the guy who's kind of the person who had the idea. Like, I don't like to listen to too many people that have fiddled with it for 10 minutes and then have some thesis about how horrible it is. Not my style.
Yeah. You can ask him. You can ask him, what did you build? Can you build something?
Oh, no, no, because they'll just call you an asshole. They'll just say you're a jerk and you're a loser.
Can you do better? Can you compete on the market for better products?
And nobody, I am staying off Twitter as far as I had my fun for 3 days. Okay. I had the demons were inside of me. Okay. I still believe most of the things I said, but again, I have no reason to be aggressive. My life is frankly better than it's ever been by a long shot. And that's because I can do whatever the F I want now. And the world is just a possibility for me. Before, I just felt like I had to work more hours to do something, to make enough money to survive. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, I can support things I love. I can learn about all this stuff. I can hang out with my friends. This is so cool. And I don't have to leave my desk, and it's safer in the house. Guys, we have to get off here. I'm going to talk forever. Steph, this has been awesome. Please, I'm going to spam your DMs. Do not think I'm crazy. Sam,
don't overdo it.
Yeah. I was like, dude, how can I contact you? I was trying to I was like, I understand why he does this. I need to make it so all my shit shut off too. I need my stuff shut off. There's too many. Gotta go. Sam, any closing words before we?
I appreciate you, Steph, for coming on. It was great to meet you. Thank you for the insights, and look forward to future conversations. And I wish tons of success with the StakerApp.
Yep, and I'm going to be covering that. I'm going to be covering.
Yeah, when you come out with the 2.0, let's dive into the new features and details of it, because I think that would
I will likely just go around. We have our own channel as well that we haven't been YouTube channel that we haven't been leveraging too much, but we're gonna do a bit like media tour, around the community. Just
cool.
Hey, these are the strengths of the feature, so that people understand what was the intention, what we prioritize, what's coming next, all of that. So.
Yeah, I'm going to get another phone and just have a good experience, just an isolated experience for myself, because I am crazy and OCD. I'm going to have a fun little, and I'll show people how I vibe with it. And I'm totally honest, and most things are horrible. So if it's any, to be honest, if it's even good to look at, it's usually better than everything, because most things just frankly are horrible. We're so early, guys. Get your bags packed, not financial advice. Please don't over leverage your situation, but just know when the bull market comes, it's not going to care about your feelings. It's not. It's really, really, really not. I bought Hex at 2 pennies and it was 56 pennies 6 months later. And I had no idea what was going on, frankly. But just know it didn't give me time to learn. It said now is what's happening. Learn right now, guys. Please pay attention. Security is extremely crucial. Thank you guys so much. This has been incredible. I'm going to be live again in 20 minutes, guys, covering the stream from yesterday on Corey Costa with a lot of the guys from the Hex community talking about some of the stuff. I heard it was amazing. I'm going to cover it. Guys, I'll see you in 20 minutes. Again, thank you so much, guys.
me some animals, got me a couple. Got in these privileges. I keep checking on the tab for that splashes. You need swaps, we don't fuck with that. Don't let me get started on the. All I did was get this rep. Pair that BUSD into some drip. Used to be in the block with my dogs, yeah, just stuck in these pigs. I'm in the farm. And I'm balling into young. Getting on elephant to collect fees.
You already know what time it is.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on pulse.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on pulse.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hex and I'm making a stay. Got me some hedge on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. GymRatCrypto sent me to show you the way.